Welcome to the Sugar House. My name is Bree. I'm the bee of B&E's trees. I've spent my whole life here in the Driftless region, most of my childhood and now adulthood, playing in the woods of the same watershed here in outside of Coon Valley. So I am during syrup season. I am the tender of the beast. This is our evaporator here. So this is where the magic happens. So this is where we're bringing in maple sap harvested from the trees, pumping that up to the sugar house. And if you haven't gotten a chance to take our wonderful woods tour, we have that recorded for you as well. So explore the woods, learn about the trees, the harvest process. So all the sap flows downhill to a collection tank down in the bottom of the valley. We pump it up here to the sugar house. And it takes between 40 and 50 gallons of sap to make each gallon of syrup. So you'd need at least one of these big barrels here full of sap to make one little jug of maple syrup. Just to give you a little perspective on what that really looks like there. So we bring the sap up here to the sugar house, and maple sap coming in is about 2% sugar. Finished maple syrup is 66.7% by mass. And we've got some more visual for you here as well. We've got the sap, and then every step through the way on its journey to become maple syrup. So when we get the sap comes up here, the first stage in the concentration process is the reverse osmosis, the RO. So the RO is a machine we've got over here. It is a series of filters, and it's using pressure to push sap through a very fine filter that only water molecules can pass through. So the sugar molecules and other nutrients, they're too big to fit through the passageways in that filter. So on one side, you're getting purified water. On the other side, you're getting what we're looking for, the concentrated sap. So we use the RO to go from about 2% sugars coming out of the tree to about 5%. You can see there's not a huge difference, but that is a little bit more concentrated. Oh, we got these in the wrong order. Blooper reel. So there we go. We've got the sap and the concentrate. The concentrate is then fed into our big machine here. So this is our evaporator. This bottom portion here is the arch. That is where the fire is. So this is our dragon's lair down here. The sap coming in first feeds into the steam away. So the steam away is located up on top here. It's using heat that's rising up off of the evaporator. So energy we're creating anyhow, that waste energy is actually used to start the evaporation process. So that's going to start the cooking and making sure that the sap that we're putting in our flue pans, where the majority of the concentration takes place, making sure that's going in hot and ready to begin that concentration. The flue pan here, this lower portion, is the kind of the workhorse of the evaporator. So there we've got a deep, narrow channel, so it's got a lot of surface area for heat transfer, and the sap is moving back and forth through those channels, becoming increasingly concentrated, and it's being pushed through that process by less concentrated sap coming in behind it, pushing that through. From the flue pan, we go into our finishing pan here. The finishing pan is that final step from concentrated sap to finished syrup. So here we've got broad, flat pans. And we've got the machine off so that you can actually hear what we're saying, but you can see those channels going back and forth. And it's less concentrated sap coming in, it's pushing it through as it's becoming more and more concentrated. The floats on the evaporator here are what regulate the sap flow. So you've got this one here is regulating how much sap is coming in from the concentrate tank into the steam away. that one from the steam away into the flue pans, and then finally the flue pans into the finishing pan. So these floats are, as the volume of concentrated sap is working its way through the concentration process, the volume is going down. And so as that volume goes down, it opens a valve that's set to a float. So there's more coming in behind it as its volume is reducing. From the finishing pan here, we're using the hydrometer to check the temperature, and we've got it off now, so it's a little cool. But we're checking the temperature there and doing a temperature correlation. So when the temperature reaches the set point for the on the hydrometer for the finished syrup, it opens a valve and draws off into our draw-off tank. To test the finished syrup, to make sure that we've got the correct concentration, we use a hydrometer, which is a really cool tool invented by a woman named Hypatia in ancient Greece, and I am happy to be using her discoveries in my every day, multiple times a day. If the weather changes, Hypatia, I'm right there with you. So to test the bricks or the sugar by mass percentage, the density, we draw off sap or finished syrup. And then we set that hydrometer right in there. This is a very delicate piece of equipment. And you can see it's got a hot and a cold line. And this is what I'm drawing here to show you is not quite finished syrup. If it was, it would float right at that red line there. So that is that's how the hydrometer works. We also use a refractometer to measure the sap coming in. So on average, it takes between 40 and 50 gallons of sap to make each gallon of syrup. But that changes based on the density of the sugars coming in the sap. That changes depending on what type of tree you've got. So a sugar maple is going to be, a higher sugar content than a silver maple, for example. That sugar concentration also changes throughout the season and year to year. So some years you get, fewer gallons of sap to syrup. Other years you're spending later nights cooking to get that same amount of finished syrup. From the draw-off, we send it through the filter press, and from the filter press into the barrel. So that is the journey of the maple syrup. We've got everything turned off, so you can actually hear what's going on in here, but it is a loud and noisy and rambunctious process we've got going on. So we've got once we've got the finished syrup filtered, we store it in stainless steel barrels. We take those barrels into Viroqua to the Food Enterprise Center, where we fill our bourbon barrels. So these are charred white oak barrels. They used to hold bourbon. They're totally empty when we get them, so there's no alcohol going on here, but there's still a ton of flavor. And so we've got the flavor of the maple, and then for a full 2 years, we're aging that maple in the oaks. And so the smokiness, the vanilla, the tannins in the oak kind of round out the sweetness of the maple, so you're getting this really rich, full flavor. Just a really, really fun kind of, you're tasting two trees. You're tasting a nice, healthy forest there with our finished product. And that we have available. Unfortunately, you can't be here today, so I can't get it to you right now, but we do have it available on our website, and we also have a map of all of our retail partners. And folks, it's a tough time. Please support local business. Your support is what makes all of this happen. You're the ones that are fueling this whole adventure, and your participation is greatly appreciated by Team Viennese and all the small businesses out there that really love you and really rely on you for help
and for just like sharing, being able to share all this fun that we're doing and this connection to the land. You're the people who make it possible. So thank you. And we will be shipping out syrup all over the place. So if you need a home delivery, we will make that happen for you. So maple syrup, bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. It is all very delicious. The deliciousness keeps on deliciousing. So when we are done with our maple, aging our syrup in the oak barrels, we send those charred white oak barrels up to Central Waters Brewing Company, where they use our syrup in their maple barrel stout as well as their salted maple. So they are another amazing business that would really love to see you folks around. Their tap room is closed, but they are having a beer window, so give them a call and keep the deliciousing. Folks have also asked how fast our big machine here works. It really depends on what we're putting in. So if you've got, just 2% sap versus the concentrate, but once we get up to temperature, on an average day, it's about 3 hours per barrel. Per tree, you get between 1.5 gallons of finished syrup per tree, per tap per year. I think that's what I've got for questions that I could think of. If you've got more questions, please tune in, shoot us a message. We will be right there ready to answer your questions. And thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you in the future. Thanks.